Future Horizons was really emanated from that about 27 years ago, when my son Alex was diagnosed with autism. That led me to begin, like many people do, my parents scurrying around looking for books or anything I could find on it. 27 years ago was a pretty barren field, and the books that were in the field were basically negative. I mean, I would feel worse when I picked it up than when I finished. So I decided, in a whim, because I found that many of the things that my son did were very humorous and were funny. And a lot of the things that other kids did that had autism were also humorous. The humor was in us, not in them. We would see things the way we thought they were. They would see things the way they literally are. And so they saw the world accurately, we saw it inaccurately. So I wrote a book called Laughing and Loving with Autism. Printed 500 copies, Andre. I have a large family, a lot of friends. I figured over a couple of years I could push these books off for Christmas presents, whatever. Turned out we sold 500 copies in like 3 days. There was a thirst for something positive about kids that had autism. Since that time, about 50,000 copies have been sold around the world, translated into 4 different languages, where it talks about the positive aspects of kids that have autism. But it looks at it from a very humorous context. And so it's just, and then from that, authors would come to me and say, would you publish my book? The second book that we published actually was by William Christopher, who you know. You don't know you know him, but you do. He's the priest on MASH, and his son has autism. And Bill came to me and said, I have a book, would you publish it for me? And we were in automotive, we were in childcare, education, and other fields. All those books now, Andre, are gathering dust on the shelves because we've become totally focused on autism. We're now the largest publishers of books and videos on autism in the world. And it all emanated from the fact of me writing that little book, Laughing and Loving with Autism. And it were all anecdotes of kids really from around the world. I started out being just about Alex. Then other people come to me and say, let me tell you what my son did. Let me tell you what happened here. And then people began sending me stories from all over, and Australia, England, Canada, and they're all now part of that book. And that then became Future Horizons, and then we published a book by Dr. Grandin, and we published books by Carol Gray and other people that were famous in the field. I had been the president of the Autism Society of America, so I knew a lot of these folks personally. So they would come to me and say, you ought to have, I mean, after I published the first few books, they said, you know, there are no good conferences on autism. So, well, gee, that's what I'll do then. I'll have conferences featuring our authors. We try to bring to the local people, people that are experts around the world to their locality. Hopefully their lives will be easier and more functional, and the lives of the kids that the kids and the adults that they care for will be also better. That's the whole reason for the conference. If I get on a plane, Andre, and I sit down alongside of someone, they say, what do you do? And I say, I'm in the field of publishing, in the field of autism. Invariably they say, I know somebody who has autism, or I know somebody who works with children that have autism, or my friend's a psychologist who works with kids that have autism. So it's an incredibly more aware world than it was 27 years ago. Future Horizons never publishes a book that says, here's the cure for autism, because I'm not a big believer in a cure for autism. On the other hand, anything that indicates that they can't be better, we don't get into that either, because every kid with autism will be better. They will grow. The vast majority of kids that improve, certainly psychologists help, certainly social people working with their speech help. There's no greater ingredient in helping a kid with autism than parent involvement. It's the parents that will change that kid. It's the parents that will work with him. The parents will sit down and talk to him after the speech therapist leaves and spend time talking with the kid. Parents are the ones who are going to make things happen. For more information, people are welcome to go to our webpage, www.f-autism.com, or our phone number is 800-489-0727.